Good evening, everyone. I hope everyone's having a great Wednesday evening, whatever your day was like today. Hope you got some work done or cuddled up with your favorite book or video game or whatever you do on a Wednesday in the middle of the week when you're sort of seeing the halfway point between now and the weekend or whatever you consider the weekend these days. I don't know how it is for everyone, but for me, it's a lot of work from home sort of stuff. So, here's a wonderful article from Bounding into Comics. And I actually read an article from Rock Paper Shotgun a few days ago. A friend showed it to me. I thought the article was kind of silly, and that's why I didn't talk about it. But in a new context, I can think of it as a rather sad thing to talk about. Video games are always going to be interactive, that you take on the role of characters, and especially games like Resident Evil, which are survival horror, you're going to have a lot of elements of fear or gore or things that make you uncomfortable. That's kind of the point of playing the game, to play an intense, claustrophobic, scary scenario or a series of. And now that they're being redone and they're just being upgraded, you get a lot more graphical quality to showcase all the detail, the gory details of creatures trying to kill you and you trying to fend them off with six pistol shots. So this is a post about Rock Paper Shotgun. Guy's name is Nate Crowley. Claims the Nemesis promotes violence against women, and he takes issue with Jill's attractiveness in Resident Evil 3. Now, the funny thing about the review by Nate Crowley is that he actually loves the game. He really likes it. He thought it was great. But he just can't get past the fact that Jill is attractive, and he's attracted to Jill because, she's made very, very well, which is kind of the point, and that some of the enemies want to kill her, which is considered violence against women. Now, if you don't know what this is pretty much anyone, whether you call them SJWs or on the left or liberal, whatever mindset that is of feminism, or again, I don't know the exact cause of all this, but they're never going to be happy. They're never going to get that one thing that says, oh yeah, that's a good depiction of a woman, or oh no, can't do that. That's fine. Like there's always you can never appease these people. So this is referred to as the Galbrush paradox, and essentially it means a game developer can never make something that works for these particular people, these particular critics, I would say. If you have a wimpy male, they're like, great, you can do that, but then it won't appease people who want to play a strong male. But if you swap the genders, so if you have a wimpy male with all these flaws and problems and have to grow as a character, and then you suddenly make it a female, they're like, okay, well that's not right. That's not a strong female character. What happened to all those strong male characters? Can't we have a female like that? And you say, okay. But if you do that, then you're like, okay, well she's strong and she's sexy and she's all these things, but she's too sexy. What is too sexy? Oh, she's being attacked by creatures. Oh, that's violence against women. You can't do that. It's like it's a survival horror game. What are you going to do? So there's no way to properly do it, whether you have a male or female character. And it's kind of funny because in this game you get to play as both a male and a female character as the story changes. And he even admits that, but he's still uncomfortable about it. Doesn't matter about the content of the game. It just doesn't like it, even though he likes the game as a whole. It's very, very strange logic. So, I do want to flag the whole violence against women aspect of Nemesis and of the game in general, and it's hard to deny it's a theme. Now, if you don't know what a theme is, depending on your definition, to me a theme is what a story or a piece of media is about. So, if 51% of your game is shooting a bunch of zombies trying to kill you, you're playing a zombie horror game, and it's going to be man versus zombies. That's pretty obvious. So, a theme would have to be a repetitive element that the content is resounding. So, like, if your theme is 34% a bunch of women getting tortured or hurt, then that would be violence against women. But there's nothing inherently wrong with that because that could be the nature of the story. That could be an adult scenario, an adult setting. Most of the characters could be female. There could be all sorts of reasons for that. What matters is context. And that is very important with any kind of theme, with any kind of conflict, with any kind of violence. Why are people doing what they're doing? What's causing that? So in this regard, I don't see a problem because you can play as Jill and you can play as a character called Carlos. So, as it's hard to deny it's a theme or that it's presented with at least a little relish, I realize it's completely unreasonable to single out Resident Evil 3 for this, gestures at the entire history of the horror genre, exactly. And in fairness, you play as trigger happy mercenary Carlos for a good portion of the game. So you get to see loads of lingering close ups of a man's neck getting devoured like a late night burger, too. So he admits, hey, you know what? The genre, even this specific series, has a whole boatload of violence against not women, or mostly men. Plus, you get to play as Carlos. So he's already saying, yeah, there is violence against women, but there's also violence against everything else, which is defeating his point. So what are you trying to get at? What is your argument here when you're showing us the game and the series of games have violence against men? But yeah, there were moments while playing when I just felt uncomfortable. Well, bravo there, Nate, or whatever your name is. Nate? It's Nate. You're playing a survival horror game where evil monsters are trying to eat and kill you. That's the point. That's one of the residual aspects or feelings of playing such a game of such a genre. Jill isn't too obviously a vessel for anyone's fetishes, but realistic as she is, she's clearly designed to be sexy. Again, there's nothing wrong with this. There's nothing wrong with having attractive characters, male or female. There's nothing wrong with having attractive enemies or disgusting monsters that happen to be attractive, even though they're ugly looking. You're attracted to them because that's the point. You want to play a scary looking monster survival game. And she spends an awful lot of time being hurled into things, slapped about, grunting in pain, being asphyxiated, and either struggling to force assailants off her or being graphically murdered by them. Bravo, Nate, you're playing a video game, and it's high quality, high detail, lots of character animations. That's good stuff. It's gore. It's part of the genre. It's part of the series. It's known for that. Welcome to 2020, man. Or probably 2000. There was one particular rough bit where one of the previously mentioned spider monsters strangled her with tentacles. That's kind of creepy. Spider with tentacles. Then rammed a bigger tentacle down her neck to pump her full of parasites. Ooh, that sounds gross. But again, that's the point. Watching back through my capture footage for screenshots, I could hear myself mutter, "Not cool, man," into my headset. And it doesn't happen to Carlos. Well, hey, you know what? Maybe those monsters just see her as a opportunity to, I don't know, produce offspring down her throat. So it's not exactly sexual, although it could be based on sex. I don't know, but that sounds like good stuff. Bravo. Was it Capcom who makes these games? Bravo, you're doing it right. You're giving the gore that people want. So all it is this person's sensibilities and ideology get in the way of his brain going, oh yeah, there are death animations in this game, like we've seen with Tomb Raider, like we've seen with all sorts of other games over the decades. This is nothing new. So why he's having a freak about this, it doesn't make sense. I wasn't even kidding on Nemesis having sleazy Dom energy. What does that mean? Does that guy even have a voice? Does he make noise? Does he talk? How do you know he's sleazy? He's a monster trying to kill you. By the way, Jill's ex-Supercop colleague Brad mentions Nemesis having a hard-on for her, and when Carlos is introduced while saving Jill from a mangling at the hands of old Bagfist himself, he quips that Nemesis knows what it wants and won't stop till it gets it. Don't you like that in a man? No thanks, replies Jill. He's all yours. See, that sounds like a bunch of tough guy talk, which is cool. You want that in this sort of cheesy B-movie style genre. And this is totally acceptable. This is pretty standard stuff. You want that adult level of content. You want the violence. You want the snide remarks, slight innuendo, and lots of gore and violence. Good stuff. But I don't see how it's sleazy Dom energy. And this is all attractive stuff as far as the genre goes. And how many of these games are there? At least 2 dozen? I don't know. There's a lot. So they're obviously doing it right. They're doing it for the right audience, and they're going to keep making them. They're going to keep redoing them. They're going to release them on the PS10 or whatever, and it's going to be great. That's video games for you. Go to any dark fantasy section of a bookstore. There'll be a heck of a lot more detail there than you will get in a video game. So other people mentioned how much of a hypocrite this fellow is, or how it's never gonna be enough. What's next? Make Jill unattractive? Take away all the jokes? Take away the neck raping spider tentacle creature? Um, you know, why would you dilute the genre? Why would you dilute the series? Why would you take away creativity from the artists? Like, there's nothing you're going to do to appease these people. So I'm surprised we still have these ridiculous reviews, but it's 2020. What are you going to say about current year these days, huh? Anyway, guys, thanks for listening and have yourself a great evening.